everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I want to get on here and make this quick video. Yesterday, I was doing some research of something I thought was about the grossest thing I'd ever heard. But as I tell you, don't take my word for nothing. Research it for yourself. They are now looking. I don't know if they passed it or if they're looking to pass it, but there's talk of it. Of putting grasshoppers, crickets, something that looks to me like a mealworm or a maggot in our food. It'll be incorporated into ground beef, ground chicken, whatever, ground meat, plus processed meats like your weenies, your hot, potted meats and stuff like that. Which I don't eat none of that no way. And now there's the United, right here in this United States, they're going up to people that has these little roadside stands that says, eggs for sale or something like that. And they're going in and taking these people's chickens. And they're saying that they've got one of about 10 new chicken sicknesses. And, they're standing up against it. They're saying, you're not going to come in and do all this. We're not going to put up with it. And the government's pretty aggravated with them. You remember we had the bird flu and all that? Well, that kind of died off. And, when all those chickens had to be killed and stuff back in 2020 and stuff, bird flu. But, they're talking about farmers that's going to get the bird flu and stuff like that. We'll see all that kind of just died to the side. Now we have a bunch of new diseases. They're also talking about making okay, we'll go, there's two sides to this. One is a capital gains tax. This comes from Miss Harris. That if you bought your place, let's say, like I did 20 years ago, and you paid $50,000 for your place, okay, and today it's worth $150,000. Okay, you didn't sell it, you just lived there and maintained your property, or made it look better and stuff like that. They're wanting to come in and charge you a capital gains tax like you sold your property for that much profit. And they're saying 25% of your capital gains will be taxed to you. So if your property increased in value $100,000, you'll owe the government $25,000 in your capital gains tax. And it don't matter if you're working, if you're disabled, if you're retired or what. If you own property, you will own a capital gain. You owe that capital gains tax. And now they're doing it on farmers. They're wanting to come in and charge you a tax for chickens, ducks, goats, if it's cattle, everything across the board. They come in, count your animals, and every year you will pay a tax for having those animals. Okay, that ain't nothing but communism. Okay, you either have to be store dependent and government dependent, or we're going to tax you. You have no choice but to be that way. There's a lot of things going on right now. That's down here. Look at Mr. Trump. We're trying to charge him. Look over here. Biden's son come in and he confessed in being guilty of all this stuff. Okay, people, when the government puts out a big story, you better look in every direction because there's something else going on. Okay, they're going to make us to where you can't live like I do. My animals produce probably 90% of, and my animals and garden produces about 90% of what I eat. Okay, I get out here, and they want to do away with all these foraging books and stuff. Okay, and if you do if you tell somebody, like, let's say he's got the flu or something, well, this is good for the flu, you can be sued by the government. You better have government, you better have research to back that up. Not say, well, that's what we've done for the last 100 years for it. That ain't good enough no more. And you can be jailed. So, all this herbal stuff, that's why I tell you, I'm not an herbalist. I'm not I can't tell you to take this. This is what I do. This is what they've done in the past. If you choose to do so, that's on you. But that's the whole reason I have to do all that. Is so if you take something and it goes against you, they don't arrest me for telling you to take it. Okay, here's your way to think on stuff. Go look and see when the first pressure canner was invented. Okay, go look and see when the government come up and says, "Oh, these foods have to be pressure cooked to be safe to eat, and these foods don't." Okay, look it up. Okay, and then tell me how my grandmother, my great grandmother, the people during the Depression stuff, before the pressure cooker ever was invented, they canned all this stuff. Okay, everything went out in a pot. Now, see, they had this stuff called lard. Okay, it ain't this stuff you buy in the store. You got to render that to actually make it into lard. But when you actually get down to the pure form of lard, they would take and put that in a jar, and then they would put their soups or whatever in it, and then they would water bath it. It was called boil it, hard boil it for 4 hours. Okay, some of it was even 6 hours. Okay, when that lard comes to the top, it helps seal that off too to keep anything from, being able to be in there. And if you boil something, remember we boil water to get rid of all the nastiness out of it. But if you boil your food, that don't do it. Does that make sense to y'all? Water bathing has always been a safe way of canning if it was done correctly. But everything my grandmother canned had to bring a grease around it. Anything my mother canned is out in the yard. Went out in the yard. We had a big wash tub, and everything went in. And unless it was some kind of, okay, with corn, we took corn right off the cob, boiled it, cut it off the cob, put it in jars, took it out and water bathed it for 4 hours. Okay, I've got some in here that I done 3 years ago, and it's perfectly safe to eat. I'm saying don't believe all the hype, and to keep your eyes open. Really keep your eyes open. They're going to try to turn us to where we're all dependent on the government. Then they can control us. Okay. I wouldn't, if you got one of them little stands that says eggs for sale, or one of them little signs that says egg for sale, you got customers, ask them for their phone number. And when they need eggs, tell them that, they'll let them call you. I need this many eggs. You're going to, meet them at the door. If you can't meet them at the door, have something to where, let's say it's a cooler or something, you put them in, it keeps them cool. They can get the eggs and put your money in it. But you're going to start doing stuff on the DL, as they call it nowadays, on the down low. Because if they pull up and you're selling eggs and stuff like that, they're going to try to take your critters. And if you got your critters out in the wide open where everybody can see them, it don't matter what it is, I'd reconsider that. You know what I'm saying? Put some hedge bushes up and briars and stuff like that where it blocks it from the road. Okay, this is supposed to be a quick video because I got to run to the DMV and pay for my freedom to drive my truck. And I got to go. I go get coffee. That's one of the things that I do buy from the store. And my dog's getting a little low on dog food, but I'm gonna go get some dog food. I'm gonna go get a can of coffee. and I'm going to go pay for my freedom to get to drive my truck. But I want to jump on here today and, just tell y'all, do your research and look at this stuff that's about to come up. Okay, I'm going to start. I don't buy very little from the store. If you got a processor down the road from you that processes beef and pork and stuff like that, you might want to pass that big box store, we'll call it, and go down there and get your meat. Because these big box stores and stuff goes right along with everything the government says. And you know who I'm talking about, all of them. They said we shouldn't be selling ARs. They quit selling ARs. Shouldn't be selling pistol calibers. Can't buy pistols, bullets are no more and all that. The ones that, just falls right along with everything the government says, avoid them. Go down to your local meat processor, buy your meat down there, even if it is a little bit higher. At least it ain't eating crickets and cockroaches and so forth. And I promise you, those people are a lot cleaner than anything you're going to get that's blowed through these big box stores. If you got a place to put them, I'd build me a pen to get me some chickens. You can process your own chicken. You can get your eggs and stuff like that. And they're not hard to keep. If you're in a area where somebody's going to say something, don't have a rooster. A hen does not have to have a rooster to lay an egg. And the only time they'll do it, make any noises, they'll lay that egg in about a minute or two. They'll cackle to let you know that egg come out. But I want to get on here. Okay, I'm not eating bugs. I'm going to try my best to not eat bugs. I didn't as a child, that dare you to eat this or dare you to eat that. I didn't do that. And here's the thing. Do your research on this too. When they take and eat them bugs on a lawn and Naked and Afraid and all that, they got to grab that bug's torso and pull his guts out because his gut's full of parasites and stuff. Do you really think the government is going to take the time to pull that parasite sac out and make that edible? It's not edible. God, I about throwed up. People, it's going to get a lot worse. And they're saying that there's too many people on this earth that the earth can't, sustain us. Okay, if everybody get out and put them out in a little garden, there's plenty of earth. Look, there's tens of thousands of acres. And I guarantee you, if you got a neighbor that's got a lot of land, and you walk up to him and say, buddy, I'd like to grow a little garden. I ain't got no place to grow a garden. Is there any way if I take care of this piece of ground, I take, put the good stuff down and I plant it and, don't be a butthole. Tell them, say, buddy, if you're coming through here and there's a cucumber or something, you see it and you want it, go ahead and have at that, buddy. If there's a tomato or something, go ahead. Okay, the next thing you know, they're going to be tickled to death that you got a garden there because they can go through every now and again and pick a little something. Okay, if they're supplying you a place to grow all your vegetables and stuff, next year you say, well, buddy, if you want me to, I'll put out some extra plants for you all. And y'all can come down and help in the garden a little bit. And, we'll split this garden, give y'all a lot more stuff to eat during the summer. Use your heads, people. There's millions and millions of acres that's not planted. Okay, I've got between 10 and 15 acres of land, more or less. Okay, I put out about, I don't know, 3/4 of an acre garden. And then I got critters on part of it. And I supply 90% of what I eat. But you see, I can. But the government had to put their hand in that too. This, you got to do it this way, you got to do it that way. Okay, what happens when the grid does go down? They told us, here's something else, people. Listen carefully. Do you remember when the ocean was going to take over the world? It was just the whole thing was going to, and it was going to be flooded. Okay, and then it was it's going to get so hot that people can't make it. About every 10 years, they come up with some new way to drain your pocketbooks. And everybody's like, oh, let me give them money. Oh, okay. Go look back over the last 100 years and see if every 10 years there ain't been a new world crisis come up. Hey, give Ross, not what is his name? He was vice president. Can't think of his name. You gotta give that man credit. He come up with global warming. Okay, let's be honest. People has thrown trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars at global warming. It ain't helped nothing. And the Democrat Party still, we gotta control global warming. Do we need to cut down on fossil fuels? Probably. Is building an electric car that's charged by fossil fuels the answer? When they said our power grid wouldn't last 10 more years. But it's still up. And now we're making cars that charge off of it. You know, they said that these power line stuff wasn't made to handle all this electrical. I ain't seen them go around changing these little iron men or whatever you want to call it, holds up in power lines and changing the diameter of power line stuff. But now we're making cars to put on the power grid that was about to go down, 10 years ago. It just wasn't going to last another 10 years. But miraculously, here it is. Okay, I promise you, when the power grid goes down here, because the government told somebody, flip a switch. Okay, here's another thing. People have forgotten how to can. That's why I do these videos. Okay, when the grid goes down and all these freezers go dead, your refrigerator quits working. Do you know how to keep stuff? Okay, do you know you can can milk and stuff like that? That's what I'm telling you, people. Do your research. I've said to educate yourself in a video. There's books out there on all this. Buy canning jars. And I've got canning jars in here that are really thick. Back in the day, canning jars were real thick and they could take a lot of heat. Go look at canning jars now. Boy, they thin as nothing. Okay? And the lids used to be reusable, but nowadays they're not. Because let's say they do cut the grid off. We're going to shut down all the canning people by killing out the little flats. Okay, I've heard all my life that you can't reuse a canning flat. For years, I took and I'd use them on kraut, jellies, and jams, stuff like that didn't really have to seal my pickles and stuff, And, it didn't have to seal, so it wasn't a big deal. Well, I run out canning jars one day, or canning flats one day. Back in 2020, you remember and all that happened? Okay, I had no choice. You couldn't find a daggone can lid nowhere. I went and I washed my can lids up real good. Put them in vinegar water and stuff, And I made sure that seal was still good. I thought, I ain't got no other choice. Popped them on there, put them through the back of that pressure canner. I lost one jar. And I can go over and get you the box of canning flats I got. I keep all my canning flats now. If I pop them off there and that seal don't tire, they're over in the box. Because it may come another time and I can't find canning flats. And like I told you, that's how I eat. So I will be canning. I don't know if I'll get another video made today because, like I said, I got to run DMV and I got to run to the bank and stuff. And I got a neighbor lady out here that's, up in her 80s that told me to come and get her canning jars. She said that she was done with them. She didn't have no use for them. And nobody else is canning or nothing for me to come by and get those. So this evening, I may load a bunch of boxes in my truck right out there and get her canning jars because she don't want them just sitting out there. And, that gives me a way to even put up more food. Well, I run this video long enough, but think about what I've told you people. Research it for yourself. It's going to get bad. I can tell you what it's all about, but people think I'm crazy. But, just do your research and see if I ain't telling you what's true. Okay, when you go get that big Arby's, or not Arby's, anywhere that it's any restaurant, and think about that being up to 20% insects. Yeah, I'll pass. Thank you. Okay, have you noticed that hamburger meat anymore is pink and white? It ain't red. You see my videos, my hamburger meat's red because it come off of a cow. Where did yours come from? Where did that white looking hamburger meat come from? Think about it. All right, I'm going to end this video and I'm going to go do my running. Y'all have a good day. Have a blessed day. Be good to each other. Do your research. And we'll see you on the next video.